Fashion Tech Alliance involves higher educational institutions, small, medium and big enterprises and a research center. This project has been co-founded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union and is aimed to facilitate knowledge exchange between partners and to design and pilot learning experiences to engage students in a fashion tech residency program, embedding young talents in the company's innovation activities. A central objective of the project is to design multidisciplinary and intersectoral learning activities involving international students from 5 European universities. The contents of the lectures have been specifically created to match the needs of fashion tech learning. They have become open educational resources to allow future engagement between a European-wide fashion and textile HEI community and are available under Creative Commons Sharealike 4.0 with the aim of a wide and free distribution, access, use, and reuse. Ready to learn more about fashion tech? Enjoy the lecture!
Hi, I am Erminia, PhD candidate at the Design Department of Politecnico di Milano. Here, I'm working on my research that concern sustainability issues in an environmental, social, cultural and economic context where design can be a vector for positive change.
We'll focus on exploring ways toward a sustainable production model for the fashion industry. We will define contexts and influences, understanding how Europe needs industry to become greener, more circular and more digital, while remaining competitive on the global scale. Then we will understand how sustainability can be a key to the positive conversion of the fashion industry, enable new opportunity for the system, and then we will understand how linear versus circular model works, and we will explore how circularity can be implemented inside the fashion system. Start understanding our context of reference and identifying the influences that the current legislative framework is applying on the fashion supply chain. This first part will explore the European legislative framework. I will guide you through the 4 main initiatives that the European Commission is supporting to promote a sustainable transition of the industrial ecosystem. These actions are the Green Deal, the Circular Economy Action Plan, the Innovation Support Services for SMEs, and the Fashion Pact. All these 4 initiatives have a specific connection with the fashion or textile field. The first initiative I will present to you is the Green Deal. The Green Deal is the new growth strategy of Europe. It aims to set Europe on the path of transformation to a climate-neutral, fair and prosperous society with a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy. The Green Deal has set several objectives, but they can be all summarized in 3 main points. No more net greenhouse gas emissions are generated by 2050. Economic growth is decoupled from the use of resources, and resource use and no person or place is neglected. The final aim to the Green Deal is to reach a positive and sustainable transition. This transition to climate neutrality will bring significant opportunity, such as potential for economic growth, for new business model and market, for new jobs and technological development. Be able to meet the deadline of 2050, to be able to reach the objective set by the European Commission is already set a plan. It's called the Twin Transition. This is the union of digital and sustainable transition. As stated by the European Commission, Europe must leverage the potential of digital transformation, which is a key asset for reaching the Green Deal objectives. This idea is reinforced in the new industrial strategy for Europe, where it is underlined that the twin ecological and digital transition will affect every part of our economy, society, and industry. The twin transition will provide new solutions that will put people first The twin transition will open up new opportunities for businesses, encourage the development of reliable technologies. It will promote an open and democratic society. It will enable a dynamic and sustainable economy, and also it will help combat climate change and achieve the green transition. The Digital Transition Initiative is based on the idea that new green technologies are already here to help tackle the biggest challenge of our time, the climate change. The European Commission has long promoted the digital transformation to enhance economic competitiveness, but now it is also recognizing that digitalization can contribute to sustainability and to the sustainability goal. For this reason, the digital transition will promote ecosystem-based business model driven by sustainability but enabled by technology. It will combine resources to scale technology application to sustainable practices. It will embrace the idea that sustainability and technology need not to be separate priorities. It will also create organization-wide ownership. It will align partners for a sustainable product life cycle and improved traceability, and it will drive, empower, and nurture talent. The sustainable transition is based on the idea that the environmental challenges ahead of us are global and systemic. Therefore, to achieve the long-term sustainability goals set by Europe, the core system of our society will have to change. The type of change that is required to achieve a major system reconfiguration is systemic. This means a fundamental, transformative, and cross-cutting form of change that entails major shift in rethinking not just technologies and production processes, but also consumption patterns and ways of living, as well as key paradigms that underpin the current economic model in view of more sustainable alternatives, focusing on different and specific sectors. As we can see from the infographic, this change will be especially true for the system related to food, energy, mobility, and construction. As you can see, in this area, there are the main investments from Europe, as for imagining new climate ambition for 2030 and 2050, supplying clean, affordable, and secure energy, building and renovating in an energy and resource efficient way, accelerating the shift to sustainable and smart mobility, to farm to fork, a fair, healthy, and environmentally friendly food system, a zero pollution ambition for a toxic-free environment. Another important initiative supported by the European Commission is the Circular Economy Action Plan. This plan was approved last March and is one of the main building blocks of the European Green Deal. The aim of this plan is to help Europe in transitioning toward a circular economy. It will reduce pressure on natural resources and it will create sustainable growth and jobs. It will also support Europe in achieving the 2050 climate neutrality target and in halting biodiversity loss. The new action plan will have a systemic approach. It will consider the entire life cycle of product. The aim is to ensure that waste is prevented and that resources are used and kept in the EU economy as long as possible. Summarizing, the plan will promote circular economy processes, will promote sustainable consumption, and will promote the reduction of resource use. The Innovation Support Service for SMEs is a very specific initiative promoted by COSME. COSME is the internal organization of the European Commission in charge of supporting the SMEs. I'm presenting this specific case as the majority of companies who work in the fashion and textile field in Europe are SMEs, and this kind of initiative can support and make them thrive. Specifically, this program was very successful. It's already been renewed, and it focuses on growth and development in foreign markets, partnership development, and support to innovation, all aspects that are fundamental when we talk about the sustainability and circularity dimensions. The last initiative I want to mention is the Fashion Pact. This is a very important initiative. as it is the first time that all the players in the fashion and textile industry, including their suppliers and distributors, decided to address their environmental impact. Today, the Fashion Pact is a global coalition of companies in the fashion and textile industry. They are all committed to a common core of key environmental goals in 3 areas: stopping global warming, restoring biodiversity, and protecting the oceans. All the initiatives I've just presented to you inform the European framework of reference for the industry. Now, let's explore together which are the derivatives for the fashion and textile sector. All the companies which operate within this sector will need to apply a sustainable design approach in their practices. This will support the circular transition as well as the 2050 target for Europe to be a climate-neutral continent. Companies will need to address the environmental footprint impact both for product and organization. This initiative will also support the 2050 target for climate neutrality. Then, companies will need to perform separate collection of textile waste, and they will start to use and recycle secondary raw materials. Both these initiatives will support the circular transition of the continent. Then, companies will need to provide access to maintenance and repair services, as well as use APR scheme, Extended Producer Responsibility schemes. Both these initiatives will prolong the life of products and will support the circular transition of the continent. Now that we have defined our framework of reference and once we have understood which are the derivatives for our sectors, let's understand how sustainability can be a vector to a positive conversion of the fashion sector. To understand how sustainability can be a positive vector for the sustainable transition, we will now analyze 3 main directions that the industry is following to facilitate the move toward sustainable models. These directions are dematerialization, collaboration, and circularity. Dematerialization is about the intangible part of fashion. This is a powerful strategy that could be fundamental in advancing industrial ecology. Through product and processes, designers, manufacturers, and their suppliers are understanding how to do more with less. This will move our paradigm from the physical one to the virtual one. Dematerialization concerns mainly 2 aspects, from product to service and from physical to virtual. From product to service or to product as a service, it means servitization. This consists in selling solutions and outcomes to the customers rather than tangible products. Instead of just providing the means to fulfill the user needs, manufacturers are now delivering the actual value out of the tangible objects. Perfect example of this is Dress You Can. Dress You Can is an Italian experiment in clothes and shoes rental. You can share your own and rent an item from a special occasion. The service is very simple. Choose the dress and the item you prefer from the collection in the company's catalog. Choose your size and select the date you want to wear it. Proceed directly to booking it, and the company will take care of logistics and delivery. You can have different time and cost options. This is an alternative purchasing experience for a sustainable economy that allows you to have access to a wardrobe that is always fashionable and, at the same time, to monetize your wardrobe by renting it, reducing expenses and waste. About the passage from physical to virtual, this refers to the recent phenomenon of digital-only fashion that can be used and traded in virtual realities. No more physical product or resources exploitation. This is about creating the garments of the future that eliminate waste and chemicals during production and minimize carbon footprint. Perfect example of this is Gucci Virtual 25. Gucci Virtual 25 is a virtual sneaker. You can wear them, you can walk around in them. They are Gucci new virtual trainers. You can buy them for about 10 euros, but they only exist in the screen of your smartphone. This is a sort of filter to be worn to take photos, to share on social network, or to work in gaming platform. Collaboration is about two companies, two designers, or a company and a designer who decide to work together to create or achieve the same goal. This is about starting positive synergies within the same sector or different sector to achieve the sustainable goal. Fashion is about working together to reach a common goal. In fashion, this can be a great opportunity for knowledge sharing between companies. An example of this is the collaboration between Timberland and Christopher Burr. The British designer launched his own studio in 2008. Since the first step into fashion, Burr has claimed a commitment to ethical and ecologically sustainable fashion. He has even built his ethos, his way of being, around the slogan of the 4 Rs: remade, reduce, recycle, and reborn. The designer brought his experience of upcycling into the company by involving and holistically integrating its practices into the company system. The collaboration between Reborn and Timberland utilized the constructed decommissioned parachutes to recreate original Timberland pieces. With craft, quality, and innovation at the heart of the project, these original pieces served as inspiration for the collection, which used organic and recycled material, including Timberland rebuilt material. Another interesting case of a partnership between companies in the fashion system is the collaboration between the Burberry Foundation and Elvis and Kresse. This is a 5-year partnership that will see at least 120 tons of leather off cuts from Burberry made into new product designed and sold by Elvis and Kresse. The profit from the sale of these products go to charitable causes and inspiring craft people. The aim of this collaboration is exactly the sharing of knowledge between companies. Burberry will learn from the Elvis and Kresse expertise how to reuse their own dead stock and their own waste from the production of luxury goods. The last direction that companies are nowadays following in implementing the sustainable practices is circularity. Circularity is a generic term for an economy designed to regenerate itself. In a circular economy, material flows are of two types: biological, capable of being reintegrated into the biosphere, or technical, intended to be revalorized without entering the biosphere. Today, the circular topic is mainstream. It is one of the great paths that will allow the industry to transform toward a sustainable paradigm. For this reason, the next part of our lesson will be completely focused on analyzing and discovering this topic. To better understand the circular topic, to face challenges and opportunities, as well as how circularity can implement sustainability in our fashion industry, we will now explore the evolution of the circularity concept, understanding how our infrastructure is moving from an old linear system toward a new regenerative circular one. You can see the fashion supply chain today follows a linear path. This is a very complex and rich progressive system. There are a lot of steps and a lot of actors who are involved in this path. But this is an heritage of the first industrial revolution. In that moment, the model of take, make and dispose was not a problem because the sociocultural environment was deeply different from now. The evolution of the linear model had a further step from the take, make, dispose, the take, make, consume, and dispose. This further evolution that was connected to a consumistic society is nowadays not more sustainable. For this reason, we are looking for different model, different economic model to make the society and the environment to prosper. The evolution of the economic models will be a progressive one. It needs to be a progression from linear to circular, as the current industrial infrastructure is not ready to move directly towards a sustainable paradigm. We will move from a linear economy of take, make, dispose to a recycling one where the resources are kept at their maximum inside the cycle, and then to a circular economy where the hypothesis is to have no more waste. The last step of the progressive evolution I've just showed to you is closing the loop, so reaching the circular economy. As you can see from the diagram, this is how the European Commission imagines a circular textile economy will look like. This is the first hypothesis that the Commission proposed in 2018. And the first step is raw material extraction, textile production, clothing manufacturing, then retail or services, consumption, collection, and recycling. The important things to notice in this diagram is the raw material extraction step. That's because in a perfect circular economies, this raw material will come from other loop as waste. So the loop will use the waste from another industry, another cycle, or in case of natural sources, it will come from regenerative practices. Closing the loop today is almost impossible. The industrial infrastructure is not ready to move away from the linear system toward a sustainable one. Fashion industries are facing these challenges, and some of them are trying to paving the road for others toward circularity. One of them is Ganni. Ganni is a Danish brand that in the last 2 years focused all its energies on implementing its responsible practices. At Ganni, they talk about responsibility and not sustainability, as they recognize the limitation of the system they are working within and the fact that sustainability is not an option in the today fashion industry. For this reason, Ganni set a 16-point manifesto in which they define 16 areas of intervention they are trying to implement their performances. The important thing is that for each one of these points, Gandhi set a series of precise objectives and solutions they want to implement in the next 3 years. Gandhi is characterized by their understanding of the complexity of the system they are operating within. They also apply a systemic vision and analytic approach to the fashion system. These are the reasons why Gandhi is promoting several initiatives with the aim of implementing their own circular and responsible performances. One of these initiatives is Gandhi Love Forever. Gandhi Love Forever is a collection made of 100% reworked and upcycled garments. Each garment is one of a kind and made and hand decorated. And what is real innovative in this initiative is the purchase model. In fact, each garment is rent, not to sell, and you can rent for 1 or 3 weeks your garment, or you can reserve it for the future. About the return of the garment, the return is force-free and the cleaning is made by Gandhi. What is interesting is this action can be repeated how many times the consumer wants. This is a very innovative system that aims to close the gap between our current system and a circular performance that is successful and can move our industry towards circularity. This is my last slide. I will leave you with some consideration about challenges and opportunities for the fashion system. About challenges, the main is the move from linear to circular, because this will be a progressive change that will require time and a collective effort from all the actors in the fashion industry. About opportunities, there will be a lot in the next few years that will happen, even if we consider the framework I've just presented to you at the beginning of the lesson, that the European Commission is building to implement and to make a circular industry and a circular society to thrive. So hopefully in the next few years we will be able to witness the first result of this collective effort, and more industry will join in this circular path.